Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, Adamawa Kebbi State Governors-elect receive certificate of return. House of Representatives summon Attorney General of the Federation, Finance Minister over alleged payment of $200 million consultant fees. 2 feared dead, others injured as fence collapses on workers at a construction site in Abuja. And on the international scene, thousands flee bodies on the streets in battle-scarred Khartoum. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. And now the news in detail. The newly elected Adamawa State Governor Ahmadu Fintiri says the suspended Adamawa State INEC resident electoral commissioner Hudu Yunusa Ari should be prosecuted in Adamawa State, where he committed the offense of illegally announcing a winner when he was not empowered to do so. Fintiri said this when he and his deputy received their certificates of return at the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Abuja. Noel Sampson has more.
Ahmadu Fintiri maintained that the action of the suspended INEC reg was against the development of democracy and fundamental rights of the people of Adamawa State, and as such should be made to face justice there.
Hudu should be prosecuted. And I believe I'm the right person to prosecute him because he committed the offense in Adamawa, and I'm sure I'm going to prosecute him, along with the security chiefs that committed those offenses with him, because they ought to have been the one to protect democracy. But if the police and the security agencies will be the one to connive with INEC officials to scuttle our democracy, I think it's unfortunate.
He used the opportunity to thank the people of Adamawa State for voting him and promised not to disappoint them, and the Independent National Electoral Commission for fighting for democracy.
Today, Nigerians have the cause to celebrate democracy, and all of us have won. I think going forward, we should learn from the lessons that we have gone through in the last 1 month, so that together as stakeholders, we will continue to build on the process. We'll continue to build on our democracy to improve and deepen the democracy. One apology I have to make is what happened to the 2 excellent commissioners in my state. I take the blame and I make apology openly. I'm sorry for what the hoodlums and the miscreants did for the mistaken identity that they thought they were Hudu.
The Adamawa State election was declared inconclusive before the rerun, which later produced Ahmadu Fintiri as the winner. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Kebbi State Governor-elect Dr. Nasiru Idris has promised to round off all projects not completed by Governor Abubakar Bagudu. The Governor-elect is also promising to give Birnin Kebbi, the state capital, a facelift. Idris made the pledge in Birnin Kebbi when he and his deputy Abubakar Tafida collected their certificates of return at the state INEC headquarters. He pledged that he is ready to turn the economy of the state around and ensure that farmers in the troubled southern part of the state return to their farms when he is sworn in. The governor-elect said the people of Kebbi State deserve to live a good life because they are hard-working and are committed to progress of the state. Celebrations broke out among members of the People's Democratic Party on the streets of Yola, the Adamawa State capital, and other places as the people danced and celebrated the outcome of the fiercely contested governorship election. On Tuesday, the Independent National Electoral Commission declared Governor Ahmadu Fintiri, who contested on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, as the winner of the governorship contest. Salis Lawang has the report.
The declaration of the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri, as the winner of the Adamawa State governorship election sparked jubilations in the state. Loudspeakers were mounted in many streets with pro-Fintiri music blaring out. Some leaders of the People's Democratic Party have reassured of the governor's commitment toward lifting the state to the greater height.
We want to assure them that we will continue the good works we have started. We have started laying the foundation for a greater Adamawa state where systems work, where institutions work, where resources are judiciously utilized, where the government is responsive to the earnings of the people. So the assurance I want to give them is that we shall continue to build on those blocks and ensure that, like we have always maintained our philosophy as a government.
This government has promoted peace and stability in Adamawa. We have now, you can count Adamawa among fastest growing state. We will not allow somebody to come and destroy it. With this, the people of Adamawa decided to vote for him. Over 400,000 votes. It's not easy. We thank Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintri and will continue to urge him to continue to do good for the people of Adamawa.
Since the election is over and winner emerged after the supplementary election, stakeholders said it was high time the attention of government shifted toward providing democratic dividends to the people. They also called on members of the All Progressive Congress to join hands in moving the state forwards.
You get the word, even when your wife is pregnant and she delivered safely, successfully, you have to jubilate. So also when you go for an election and then you win an election, you must jubilate. And that's why we are happy, we are jubilating. We are here to thank God, we are here to thank INEC and to thank everybody for supporting us, supporting the governor, Ahmadu Umaru Fintri.
My message to them will be to come together to build Adamawa State, especially given that the current governor, Right Honorable Ahmadu Umaru Fintri, has delivered on the dividends of democracy, and that is visible to the blind and audible to the deaf.
Effort to reach some leaders in the Binani camp proved abortive. Silas Lewan, Trust TV News, Yola.
The winner of the Adamawa State governorship election has emerged in a keenly contested exercise that attracted global attention. Stakeholders ponder on the lessons learned from the democratic exercise that throws up many challenges about Nigeria's democratic consolidation. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
He is a legal practitioner and a resident electoral commissioner. But Hudu Ari will go down in history as an electoral officer who threw conscience to the wind and declared a candidate winner without recourse to laid-down process and procedure.
They must be prosecuted. You see, I believe by now an investigation should have already begun. I know that the PRO of the Nigerian police has said they're waiting for INEC to write to them officially. I don't think they need to wait for INEC. They need to investigate why did the CP supported the wreck.
His co-travelers, heads of security agencies in Adamawa State, chose to provide a cover for an exercise they knew fell short of every electoral standard. Now they have to lick their wounds and face the consequences of their actions, as both the resident electoral commissioner and the state police chief have left their esteemed offices unceremoniously.
We need to make an example of this wreck so that people would know that in fact they are not above the law. Everyone is subject to rule of law in Nigeria and everywhere. So no one should come and act as though they are above the law.
What we need to do is further strengthen Section 63 of the Electoral Act. Yes, it empowers the returning officer, but in any case where the returning officer is indispensable, what then happens?
For desperate politicians wanting to grab power at all costs, it's time to have a rethink and realize in every electoral contest there must be a winner and a loser. What matters is the choice of the people. The outcome of the exercise also presents an opportunity to the winner to rededicate himself to people-oriented leadership, having survived a political hurricane that almost cut short his stay at the helm of affairs.
The president-elect must lead a reform that strengthened the institution that brought him into power and strengthened the process that brought him into power. I'm sure in 2027 we don't want to go into an election where people would still question the outcome.
While the Adamawa State governorship election rerun officially comes to a close with declaration of the winner, Media organizations covering election must learn to exercise restraint and deploy due diligence before broadcasting sensitive information in order not to be caught napping in the line of duty. For this electoral official caught in the middle of the political brigandage orchestrated by yet-to-be unmasked politicians, accepting political appointments comes with unpredictable consequences, sometimes too difficult to predict. As the storm generated by the Adamawa State governorship rerun settles, stakeholders say proactive measures must be put in place to guard against future occurrence. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Thank you, Shafiu. Still in Adamawa state politics, the All Progressives Congress governorship candidate in the state, Aisha Dahiru Benani, has dismissed the claim of offering 2 billion naira bribe to win the state governorship election. The suspended resident electoral commissioner, Hudu Yunusa Ari, had declared the senator the winner of the election on Sunday under controversial circumstances. In a statement on Tuesday, Benani said her attention was drawn to an allegation purportedly made by an officer of the Department of State Services in a video that she gave out 2 billion naira to some unnamed INEC officials. Benani alleged that those who tortured the INEC wreck were the agents of the Adamawa State Governor and the Government House Police team alongside their political thugs. The lawmaker described herself as a committed Democrat who will never do anything to subvert the democratic process. She also added that what happened in Adamawa State was an unsuccessful attempt to subvert the will of the people. The House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee investigating the sale of 48 million barrels of crude oil amounting to over $2.4 billion and crude oil exports to global destinations from 2014 to date has demanded the appearance of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami to give evidence on allegations that he approved the payment of the sum of $200 million to two private firms as consultancy services fee on whistleblowers' recoveries. The ad hoc committee is also demanding the appearance of the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, to explain her role in the said approvals and payments without providing details of actual recoveries from whistleblowers. The report.
Chairman of the ad hoc committee, Mark Gbila, gave the ruling on Wednesday at the resumed hearing of the investigation, saying that both ministers have been uncooperative with the panel despite several letters of invitation. He said they have not been getting any form of cooperation from the Ministry of Finance and Attorney General's office regarding the investigation, despite series of correspondence sent to them on the matters they are investigating. He added that they have seen documents from the Accountant General's office where the Minister of Finance approved the payment of substantial amounts of money to so-called whistleblowers, where details of monies recovered were not provided. Wheeler also added that they have heard media reports by the federal government indicating that millions of dollars were recovered through whistleblower revelations on behalf of the country. But as a parliament, they have not seen where those monies were routed through as required by the Constitution before they were expended.
Of the committee, we have not been getting the cooperation from the Ministry of Finance and the Attorney General's office with regards to salient issues that this committee is investigating. We have seen documentation from the Accountant General's office that shows that the Honorable Minister of Finance approved the payment of significant, substantial amounts of money to so-called whistleblowers, where details of the monies recovered was not provided. We have had media reports by the federal government indicating that millions of dollars were recovered.
Earlier, during questioning, the Chief Executive of Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Gbenga Komolafe, denied knowledge of the alleged sales of 40 million barrels of crude oil export in 2015.
Relating to the specific issue of the 48 million barrels of crude oil stolen, that is the
A committee was set up, to the best of my knowledge, but I wasn't a member of that committee. That is my response, Mr. Chairman.
The resolve to summon the two ministers, according to the committee, follows their repeated failure to honor earlier invitations from the House.
Now on security, the Osun State Police Command has rescued a couple from kidnappers at a forest in the state. The couple, Andrew and Margaret Jonah, were abducted while going to church for vigil. The couple said they spent days in captivity without food or water before men of the anti-kidnapping squad of Osun State Police Command rescued them. The wife, Margaret Jonah, said the kidnappers threatened to kill them and use their remains for ritual unless their relatives pay ransom. The police public relations officer for the command, Yemisi Okpalola, warned residents to be mindful of their movement so as not to fall prey.
And my husband, and they did not give us water to drink nor food. So the one that stayed with us, when we heard the gunshots, he was not afraid. So he now ran away. That is how my husband he now untied the rope on our body, and we are sharing my husband's name. So it's police that are calling my husband. The police that came to rescue us, that the one calling my husband. While he was hearing his name, he now answered them. That is how he was able to escape.
And I'm using this medium to tell the members of the public to watch their movements. They should not be moving in the odd hours. You know, they should not be moving too early in the morning and late in the night. When you know you want to go for a vigil, like they said, the couple said, they want to go to a vigil. Maybe the vigil is going to start by 10 o'clock. You can be there before 5 or by 5 o'clock. Be resting, or you may even be sleeping in the church before the set time. And avoid moving in a lonely route. You know, a place that you know that people are not, they are not using it much. Don't move in such areas.
Operatives of a joint task force, codenamed Operation Zenda in Benue State, have arrested 8 suspected cattle rustlers and recovered 6 cows from their hideout. Jimmy Adzande was at the police command headquarters in Makudi, where the suspects were paraded, and reports.
Parading the suspects, the State Police Public Relations Officer Sewe Sianeni said the team of Operation Zenda in Guma and Taka local government areas carried out the arrest following intelligence report. The PPRO also hinted that the suspects confessed that they are part of a gang of many criminals.
People you are seeing behind me are people who come together, both herders and farmers. They come together to rustle cattle from the herders and then go back to the herders to tell them that it was the farmers that rustled their cattle. And then they begin to clash. They begin to fight amongst themselves. 3 of them, they will speak with you on what is happening. We got intelligence that these people are more than 20, 30 carrying out this act. Some are even foreigners, according to what he told us. They have formed a group going about rustling cattle and telling herders that it is members of these communities that are rustling cattle in these areas.
The suspects say they have been in the business with a coalition of some of the herders who give them the cows to sell to awaiting buyers. They also say the farmers are often framed for being the rustlers.
This group, maybe Ori TV Day, Jukuma Day inside, Ausama Day inside.
So far, how many cows?
I know few counters.
What do you do mean? That's what we want to hear.
You say Fulani, they bring cow. Can't give us headers. Go say. Go say, bring the money, go share with them all.
Now this cow issue, and for Kansio cow when send us, this is our second time to do the job with that. The first one we carried 2 cows. he say to us, he can't say give us 10,000. This man we carry coin, he give us 225. Now we refuse. We fight with him. We tell and say we no go ever do a job again. Now we can't stop.
Meanwhile, the police command said the stakeholders meeting will be summoned to fish out the perpetrators of the crime in order to end attacks in Benue communities.
We're going to have a stakeholder meeting. Herders will be called, farmers will be called together for them to be able to fish out these people, because they are saying that there are more than 20 doing these things. So they have to fish them out.
The command also said those arrested will be investigated and prosecuted according to the law.
2 immigration officers have been killed by suspected bandits along the Takum-Usa local government area link road in Taraba State. Confirming the incident on Wednesday, the police public relations officer in the state, Abdullahi Usman, said the officers were not only shot dead but had machete cuts on their bodies with their motorcycles abandoned at the scene of the incident. The officers were identified as Inspectors Adike Austin and Uzo James of the Immigration Department attached to Usa local government checkpoint. Usman disclosed that their remains have been deposited at the morgue for autopsy while a full-scale investigation has been launched. He added that the killing of the immigration officers is not related to the ongoing herders-farmers crisis in the area. Now, in a related development, a lecturer with the Federal University Wukari has been confirmed killed in his farmland as by a suspected thief militia group. Until his death, the lecturer Daniel Bala worked with the university's Faculty of Agriculture. In a reprisal attack, the irate youths of Wukari killed a thief businessman and injured his friend. The thief Jukun crisis has become a recurring decimal in Taraba State, especially during the rainy season. Residents are hopeful that the government takes drastic action to nip the attacks and counterattacks in the bud before they escalate. You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, how tailors struggle to meet deadline ahead of Salah celebrations. Stay with us.
That's great. It's good to see you.
Good morning, Nigeria. Year after year, they have informed, educated, and entertained us. When you needed information, knowledge, or an escape.
From generation to generation, the Nigerian broadcasting industry has worked tirelessly to serve you.
This November, broadcasters all over Nigeria will gather for the maiden edition of the Nigerian Broadcasting Awards, an award ceremony set to reward hard work and unflinching excellence in the broadcast media. They have served and are still serving. It's time to say thank you. This award is organized by the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BON. For more details, log on to www.tnbawards.ng and follow our social media handles at TNB Awards.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Treated a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. Here's a recap of our top stories. We told you that Adamawa, Kebbi state governors-elect received certificates of return. You also heard that House of Representatives summons Attorney General of the Federation, Finance Minister over alleged payment of $200 million consultant fees. Moving to more stories, 2 workers are feared dead at the construction site at Ademola Adetokunbo Crescent, Wuse 2, Abuja, after a structure collapsed on Wednesday. 4 persons were said to have been rescued alive, while 2 others are fatally injured as search and rescue operations continues. The rescue operation is being carried out by a joint team of the National Emergency Management Agency, Federal Emergency Management Agency, Federal Fire Service, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Nigeria Police, and volunteers.
There was a building at the former site of Access Bank, Ademola Crescent, Wuse 2, and we mobilize our men here promptly. Here we have NEMA, Federal Fire Service, FCT Fire Service, Civil Defense, all stakeholders. And by the grace of God, out of the 6 people that were trapped, 4 were rescued alive, 2 were fatally injured. They were all taken to Asukoro General Hospital for medical attention. The building was under construction, and the adjacent fence to the main building under construction collapsed on the men that were working on the site.
In recent months, some parts of the Federal Capital Territory have suffered from demolition exercises, with many rendered homeless and property worth millions lost. In this report, Noel Sampson speaks with some affected Nigerians on life after demolition, especially in areas such as shelter, healthcare, and getting their lives back. The report.
Affected by demolitions are yet to recover from the trauma of seeing their abodes reduced to rubble, while those who have gone beyond the trauma are struggling to get on their feet. With no prior notice of demolition in some areas, coupled with a lack of compensation from government, the resolve to begin all over again can be a daunting task. Ironically, some are already erecting fresh structures in the demolished areas, not minding the fact that the same fate can befall the new ones.
Honestly, the trauma remained till this minute, from 21st day of December 2022. Shelter means a lot of things. How can you get the wood, even if it is used wood? How do you get the nails, even if it is used nails?
If you go in now, you can see so many places now, they have not repaired their bacha. They are just managing they are joining for 1 bacha, 3 family or 4 family inside. Because it's not raining, it's dry season, so sometimes in the night, they will sleep outside.
As I see us now, to pay school fees for my children, they're hard. To get food, they're hard. Both of the house were done demolished. Up to now, many of my people were done demolished their places now. They don't get anything where they feel repair another house.
This is one of the sites that have suffered demolition in Abuja in the past few months. The question now to be asked is that, how have they been coping and where have they been sleeping after the demolition? From Durumi in Abuja, Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
An unnamed commercial bus driver was on Wednesday confirmed dead in an accident involving 2 yellow-colored vehicles known as Danfo and a government-owned BRT bus. The accident, which occurred around the Ogudu Bridge inward the Alakbare area of Lagos State, grounded vehicular movement and caused a gridlock along the ever-busy axis connecting the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. The BRT bus went up in flames, compounding the traffic situation along the axis. The spokesman for the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, Adebayo Taufik, in an interview blamed the accident on overspeeding by the buses. The Lagos State Police Command on Wednesday paraded 42 cult members arrested by the Special Anti-Cultism Operation in the state. The Commissioner of Police, Idowu Owohunwa, while parading the cultists at the State Command headquarters in Ikeja, said no form of cultism will be allowed to operate in Lagos under his watch. The report.
According to reports, the special officers arrested the suspects at Ijora, Orile, Ebutemeta, and Ikorodu area of the state. The officers recovered from the cultists 10 firearms, 6 locally made guns, 3 fabricated pistols, 1 English pistol, 3 axes, 3 daggers, 3 knives, 3 machetes, and multiple charms. Addressing the press at the police headquarters in Ikeja, the Commissioner of Police, Idowu Owohunwa, warned cultists and those involving in other crimes to cease forthwith, as the command has put machinery in place to fish them all out.
Cultists, that in line with the promise made to Lagosians, we will deploy all our operational assets and will provide the leadership that will ensure that the special units of the Lagos State Command sustains this battle against cultists who appear to be determined to threaten the internal security of Lagos, threaten our value for peace, and our wish for a stable, secure order in order for Lagosians to operate.
The commissioner further assured Lagosians that cultists would not be allowed to operate in the state in any guise, vowing that those who try will have Lagos State Command and the law to contend with.
Reassure Lagosians that the battle to rid Lagos State of cultists and other dangerous and violent criminals has started. And we will not relent until we restore order across the states. So the cultists or any violent criminal that operates under whatever guise should take this as a clear and firm warning once again. They have an option. You either change for better and opt for a legitimate means of livelihood, or you have the Nigeria Police, Lagos State Command, and the law to contend with.
Joined residents to avail the police of any information that could lead to the arrest of cultists or any other criminal in order to make the state safer for all.
No fewer than 214 people have been killed and 746 kidnapped in Kaduna State in the first quarter of 2023. The Commissioner of Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruwan, who stated this while presenting the first quarter security report in Kaduna, said 94 bandits were also neutralized within the period under review. The report.
Presenting the report, Aruwan said Kaduna Central topped with 115 victims killed and 137 kidnapped, while Southern Kaduna and Northern Kaduna came second and third, respectively.
Kaduna Central account for 492. Southern Kaduna Senatorial District account for 221. Northern Senatorial District account for 17.
Some head of security agencies who spoke said the engagement has been deepened towards mitigating terrorist threat and fostering intelligence gathering to tackle the menace of banditry and terrorism in the state.
Challenge in southern Kaduna, indeed in other areas too, we need quite some push on the non-kinetic line so that people can learn to live together in peace.
A comprehensive operation order has already been prepared, and all my area commanders and DPOs, I met with them on Monday, and I have given them the roles that each and every one of them is supposed to play.
Kaduna State Governor Nasiru El-Rufai in his address said the state government will continue to sustain the current offensive against bandit and terrorist hideout and appeal to security operatives to continue to partner with the state government to enable it achieve set objectives.
We note with concern the continued failure of traditional and community leaders, particularly in Zangon Kataf Chiefdom, to prevent resort to self-help by recalcitrant youths, and assure you all that we will take some actions to send a clear message in this regard. We note with gratitude that the military initiated offensive security operations against the bandits in the last half of 2022. As observed earlier, this helped to improve the security situation in many of our communities, but these operations must obviously be widened and sustained as the most effective way to protect our people and uphold law and order.
He also called on the citizens of the state to continue to provide useful and reliable information to security operatives for the safety of their communities and the entire state. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Thank you, Bello Musa, for that report. Now, no fewer than 467 ad hoc staff of the National Population Commission have staged a peaceful protest demanding their training allowances for over 2 months. The protesters, consisting of trained facilitators and special workers for the forthcoming 2023 national census in Bauchi State, stormed the Commission Secretariat carrying placards with various inscriptions. Adamu Imam reports.
Leader of the protesters, Abbas Adamu, presented the list of the affected staff and their demands to the State Commissioner and explained that their colleagues participated in the training as special workforce and facilitators for the census exercise at the Abubakar Tatari Ali Polytechnic and Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Bauchi training centers.
Payment of the allowances of the trainees was effected about 2 months ago. Some got their payment, others did not.
However, at the time of the protest, they were lucky that some management staff of the commission were on their way out. Before they could make their way out of the premises, the ad hoc staff quickly blocked and barricaded the entrance of the commission with motorcycles until they were addressed properly. One of the directors at the commission received their complaint and assured that he will deliver the message to the appropriate authority.
Since so many persons here that came to me personally and in group, and we discussed this. I'm so surprised that probably they were not satisfied with the efforts my honorable commissioner has been making, and that's why they had to come themselves. But I want to thank them for being very civil in the way they are agitating for what they perceive is their rights. I'm going to channel your complaints to the appropriate authorities, and that you can be sure.
Hudu also expressed dismay that some of the protesters had met him individually on the same matter, but still went ahead to join the protest even after their discussion. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Tailors and fashion designers in Jos, the Plateau State capital, say they're working round the clock to ensure that they meet customers' deadline for delivering clothes for the cellular celebrations. They acknowledged that though they sometimes fail to deliver as promised due to unforeseen circumstances, they are, however, trying their best to make their customers happy during the cellular festivities by delivering on target. Ado Musa completes the report.
It is a common feature to see or hear of heated arguments, quarrels, and in worst-case scenarios, physical and exchange of blows between fashion designers and their customers as a result of failure on the part of the designers to deliver as promised, especially during festive periods like Sallah, when everyone is hoping to wear new clothes. Fashion designers are always busy during festive period, with some managing to fulfill the promises made to their customers, while some fail to do so. They told Trust TV how they handle these periods as well as how they cope with not too patient customers. Of course, it is not always easy for us, especially this period when everyone is hoping to wear new clothes for the festivity. What I always do is I come out early in the morning and devote time to do or get some work done. During the night, others will take over from us to spend the night sewing the cloth, just to ensure that we deliver to our customers as promised. We always try our best to meet the deadline. What we do is Whenever a customer brings their clothes, we agree on a particular time and call them later to collect their cloth when it is done. If your work is not complete, we plead with you to come back at a later date. What we do here is we work tirelessly to meet up the demand of our customers. We spend day and night to sew a good number of clothes so as to discharge them. The tailors further explain why sewing is expensive in recent times. Sewing now is expensive because prices of goods and services have increased. The materials we use to sew the clothes are very expensive now. The machine used for certain design is also expensive. Modern designs are different from what we used to know. The design that customers prefer now are beautiful and expensive, considering the materials and fittings used. That is why modern sewing is highly priced. Some customers who came to collect their clothes share their experiences with Trust TV. I'm here to collect my sister's clothes. I have been here since morning, yet the tailor has not finished the work. He promised to finish the work before now, but he has not fulfilled that promise. It is the attitude of the tailors that prevent me from bringing my own clothes now. I'm also here to collect mine, but he hasn't completed it. It is worrisome that these people are behaving like this. I brought my clothes even before the commencement of Ramadan. The tailors are positive that they will deliver to all their customers to enable them enjoy the Salah with their new clothes. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
As the most important and holiest month in the Islamic calendar, clerics have urged Muslim faithfuls to make charity during Ramadan fast a duty to gain multiple rewards from Allah. At a charity donation by a non-governmental organization, Jibwis Orphans and Widows Welfare Foundation in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, the clerics described the holy month as a time of increased worship, spiritual cleansing and good deeds. The report.
Charity is an important part of Islam and is most significant during the month-long Ramadan fast. An Islamic non-governmental organization in Rivers State, Jibwis Orphans and Widows Welfare Foundation, used its Ramadan sensitization lecture to empower some Muslim faithful in the state. Speaking with newsmen, the secretary of the organization in the state, Aliu Danliti, said charity during Ramadan is an opportunity to gain multiple rewards by giving to the needy in order to seek the pleasure of Allah. Danliti said the group also focused on educating Muslims on available government health programs in order to have an informed society that can access medical services.
And the essence of doing this, we have realized government alone cannot give enough to everybody within its citizenry. So we need to also inculcate the habits of funding and assisting the less privileged among ourselves. This will bring love. The charity will bring love, and it will bring protection, and it will make us live as one without envy and bigotry. So these are basically why Jibwis is easy.
Representative of the State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency sensitized youth and women on negative consequences of illicit drugs intake. Some of the beneficiaries expressed gratitude to the group for the support.
Let God bless them. Then do well. It's not easy by this hour. Anywhere they provide this income, any hand will bring them. Let God double upon double for them. May God give them long life. May them continue to help the widows.
The negative effect of it, each children, everybody has a dream. If you involve yourself in drugs, you will not be able to actualize your dream. The negative effect, like the Kurumbiri, if you take it, you will be behaving funny as if you are having mental issue. It can lead to mental health. Then like the tramadol, some of them, the effect of tramadol will make you to have what we call seizure. You'll be falling as if you have epilepsy.
And we always show them love, that we love them. We don't forget them, no matter that they don't have a parent, father, or they don't have anybody to cater us, but so far as they are with us, they have a lot of hope and confidence. So that is why you see them there, they are all happy, and everybody knows that whenever you came here, you will go back home with a very big smile.
Those are 15 years and above. We are still taking our COVID-19 vaccination. As we are now, rainy season don start. We will begin to see small symptoms of fever, sore throat. I cannot smell, I cannot taste, my body is paining me, my waist is paining me, my bones are paining me, I am so tired. You go to say na malaria, not malaria, na COVID.
During Ramadan, fasting and acts of charity are obligatory for Muslims who are able to do so. Fasting from sunrise to sunset is representative of spiritual cleansing, hence an effort to become closer to God and an attempt to gain a better understanding of human suffering.
As Muslims inch towards Salah festivities marking the end of Ramadan, local communities in Katsina State have been observing the 2023 fast amidst harsh weather and economic downturn. Most of residents of local communities such as Kaukai in Batagarawa local government area observe the fast with little or nothing to start or break the fast with at the end of each day. Abdullahi Ahmadi visited some locals who shared their experience on how they struggle to observe the fast. His report.
Ramadan fast is a time to strengthen social and religious bonds between those who have and those who do not in Muslim communities. In a community like this, the spirit of sharing, togetherness and love that comes with Ramadan cannot be compromised. Once it is time for breaking the fast, everyone here brings out what is available to share with others, especially the needy among them. This is common even as only few out of the whole community can afford kunu and water to break the fast as a result of the harsh economic realities of the present-day Nigeria. The situation is unbearable, but for religious obligation like fasting, there is no compromise no matter the difficulties. This is the peak of dry season in Katsina State, and during this period, there is usually no food, no money, hence we only depend on God for all our needs.
I used to break my fast with something like kunu, kosai, and so on and so forth. Sometimes I used to engage in some different fruits, which include watermelon, orange, banana, but this is pertaining to me.
Zakat al-Fitr is given out to the needy in form of grains or food items from 3 days to Salah, preferably to Salah Eve, to enable the needy use the grains to prepare for Salah festivities. It is not only seen as a religious obligation, but also a transfer of love as well as building the spirit of togetherness and oneness among Muslims and non-Muslims alike. Islam has directed Muslims to help one another at all times, especially during Ramadan. This includes obligatory Zakat al-Fitr, which is compulsory on every Muslim to give out regardless of his age, gender, or status. Many believe that if the spirit of Ramadan is extended beyond the month, many poor families would have a better life, while peace and tranquility will prevail in the society. Abdullahi Ismail Ahmadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
You're watching News on Trust TV. We'll be back after this break.
TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. Let's now join Chiamaka Nwafo for business news.
The federal government has disclosed that it will increase excise tax on tobacco products from 30% ad valorem to 50% as part of measures to control tobacco smoking in the country. The head, Tobacco Control Unit, Non-Communicable Disease Division, Federal Ministry of Health, Mangai Malo, disclosed this at the National Tobacco Control Budget Advocates meeting in Abuja. Malo said presently the federal government imposed a 30% tax on tobacco products, but its target was to increase to 50% in order to meet the World Health Organization standard. He pointed out that the funding for tobacco control must come majorly from taxation, noting that there is also a need for relevant stakeholders to apply tax measures rightly if they are to address the issues of tobacco control in the country. The Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Exchange Limited NGX, Temi Bokbola, says the Nigerian capital market will witness a renewal in exchange trade fund ETF listings with 4 new ETFs in the pipeline. Bokbola discloses at the NGX's ETFs conference themed ETFs in the Nigerian capital market, opportunities and challenges, which held on Wednesday. The NGX CEO explained that the exchange is leading the ETFs market in West Africa with a market capitalization of 8.87 billion naira, which is equivalent to $19.25 million. He, however, noted that the market is still in its nascent state compared to the South African ETF market with a $7.11 billion capitalization. And finally, the Nigerian exchange closed positive amidst buy interest in sellers as bulls regained dominance driving up the broad market. The all-share index appreciated by 0.07% to close at 51,178.41 points. In the same vein, market capitalization grew by 18 billion naira to close at 27.87 trillion naira, while the year-to-date returns settled at 0.80%. The stock market has advanced by 417.25 basis points since the start of the year. Market break closed positive as Transcorp left 25 gainers and 8 losers, topped by FTN Cocoa at the end of Wednesday's session. 1.2 million shares valued at 3.97 billion naira were traded in 3,505 deals. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafo.
On the international scene, thousands of residents on Wednesday fled Sudan's capital, where witnesses reported bodies on the street from fighting between the army and paramilitaries that embassies said killed more than 270 civilians and showed no sign of ending after 5 days. The Rapid Support Forces, paramilitaries, and the army said they would fully commit to a complete ceasefire from 1600 GMT for 24 hours. But at the appointed time, shots were still heard throughout Khartoum, according to witnesses. It was the second day in a row a proposed humanitarian ceasefire failed to take hold, with both the army and the RSF blaming each other for breaking the South Sudan brokered truce. Foreign diplomats have been attacked, and United Nations Emergency Relief Coordinator Martin Griffiths said the UN had received reports of attacks and sexual violence against aid workers. Government started planning to evacuate their citizens, among them many UN staff. And finally, let's join Adeni Ajishafe for sports news.
President of Nigerian Wrestling Federation, Daniel Igali, says he's positive of a good outing at the African Wrestling Championship holding in Tunisia from the 15th to 24th of May 2023. Igali gave the hint at the closing ceremony of the Nigerian Wrestling Federation National Team Trials at the Dynamite Theatre of Wrestling in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State. Igali, who is Bayelsa State Commissioner for Youth and Sport, said no sport has done better than wrestling in Nigeria in the past 10 years and expressed optimism that Nigerian wrestlers will distinguish themselves at the championship in Tunisia. Reflecting on the talent discovered during the trial, Igali said the future of wrestling is bright in Nigeria, describing the event as laudable, with the trial producing athletes for the trip to the North African side. Wrestlers that will represent Nigeria in 2028 were also discovered, while the grooming process has already commenced. And in football, the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) has announced plans to constitute various boards for all Nigerian league bodies in 4 weeks' time. The nation's football arbiter announced the development on Tuesday after its executive committee meeting in Abuja. In a statement, the Federation noted that all 4 leagues in the country, namely Nigerian Premier Football League (NPFL), Nigerian Women's Football League (NWFL), Nigerian National League (NNL), and Nationwide League One (NLO), will all get their boards in a month's time. However, it is not clear if the Federation will include the Female Division 2 League, the NWFL Championship, among the leagues whose board will be constituted in the next 4 weeks. Nigeria runs 5 different leagues, with the NPFL and NWFL as apex leagues for both male and female footballers, respectively. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
Thank you, Adeni Ajishafe. Now with that, we've come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.